Today is a good day to interact and reconnect with nature. You know, there's a power there, a beauty and intelligence. We see it all around, but do we spend enough time, in contact with that? We are nature. This body is nature. It's made out of the same elements. You can feel that sort of revival when you walk through a forest, when you swim in an ocean or a river, when you have a fire, something primal about it, right? It's healing. Nature has healing powers, and the more cut off we become, the more disconnected, the more time we spend in our houses, in our rooms, and cut off with the doors locked, and the less happy we are, because there's a vital dimension missing. Nature is life, So I was contemplating recently about how nature mirrors and reflects to us the characteristics or the essence of our own being, or the heart space, as I put it. Spirit, soul, consciousness, whichever word you prefer. And I've been paying some attention to the elements, If you imagine what it was like the first time someone discovered fire or saw a fire, or even, you don't have to go back in the past, the first time a child or baby sees a fire, it's magical, There's something about it. But we're used to it. We've called it fire, so we know what it is and we know what it does, and it's easily accessible now, so the magic is kind of taken away. But if you sit with a fire and observe it, really observe it quietly, you get this sense of magic and wonder and power, Especially if it's like a bonfire, a big one, a bonfire night, and people come round and gather around a fire and throw wood on it. It's a special thing, right? Beautiful thing. The way in which I feel fire mirrors to us our own spirit or soul is that it's highly energetic and highly powerful. It can destroy forests and, of course, burn you, be painful. But it can cook your food, it can keep you warm, it's versatile. But what's interesting about fire is that it's silent. All of that power, all of that energy, but you can't hear it. It's just, sometimes the fire brigade, I remember an advert I saw, and there was some people sitting in the living room, and behind them there was a fire in the kitchen, and the kitchen was fully ablaze. But they couldn't hear it. They were just sitting there watching the TV, and unless the fuel that the fire is burning makes some sort of popping or crackling sound, you don't know there's a fire there, right? If you're watching a fire, you might hear some popping or crackling if you're in the woods and what have you, but the fire itself is absolutely silent. This is the same as the spirit. The spirit is fully alive and fully present and gives life to life itself effortlessly, but it is still and silent when you go in and you sense it. The word you would use to describe it is silence or stillness or space. So it's apparently kind of paradoxical or contradictory, but the spirit it won't be condensed into any concept. It won't hold any type of logical or rational. It breaks all the boundaries, all the borders, all expectations, and it can be paradoxical. It can be everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The only thing that you can't put into a box is your own self, your own spirit. You see? And it's beautiful. This is why I like to contemplate these things, and not just contemplate, but go into the experience of that. Another beautiful element of nature is the wind. Same thing. Wind is powerful. It can rip down buildings. It can take out cities and just mash up the place, right? But you can't see it. It's invisible. You would think something that could do that much damage you would see, right? You can see the effects of the wind. So if you see a tree blowing in the wind, you're not seeing the wind, you're seeing the tree moving. You're seeing the effects of the wind. And our spirit is the same. The heart space is the same. It gives life, it manifests everything. And it's like space. You can't see space, but you know it's here. You can sense space. It's more of a sensing. It's not something like an object you can point out. The same with your soul. It's not something that you can see. It's something that you're seeing from, but it itself, you can't see it and say that there it is. It's this shape, size, or color. You can't define it like that, but you can't deny it. So it's everywhere, but nowhere. You know, as you see the effects of your spirit or the soul, because the soul gives life to everything. Everything is manifest out of that source. So you can see its effects, but you can't see it. Elusive, but all pervasive. Right? This is magic. For me, this is miraculous when we look into the nature of reality, which is another word for what we are. It's miraculous. We have the earth, Mother Nature itself, you know, growing trees, plants, flowers, everything's manifesting from within. It's something from nothing. If you watch a time lapse of a flower, there's nothing there, and it's arising out of nothing. That's magical. The hair, it's growing out of your head from nothing. There's nothing there, and it's manifesting something from nothing. The Big Bang there was nothing, then there was something, and everything out of nothing. How, you know? What kind of magic is this? And our bodies and our thoughts and our emotions, sensations, all of it is manifesting effortlessly out of this. You know, that's the earth, the magic of the earth. And the body is earth also. So everything manifesting, growing, and then it returns, goes back to the cycle. Nothing dies. It's all exchange, recycled, and comes back up into new things. Everlasting cycle. This is our soul. This is the magic of our spirit, what we are. We're not just observing this. We are recognizing we are part of that, not just part of it, but at the core, at the root of it also. You feel me? This is the fruit of introspection and self-inquiry. We start to find these things out, not as knowledge, as experience. And there's a freedom in that, of course. Interconnectedness with everything. There's something infinite and everlasting about that. You know? Which one did we have next? Water, of course. Water. Powerful, powerful element, right? Life. Water is life. You drink water to sustain. You have to drink water, right? But water can be death as well. It can take life. Tsunami can wipe out a whole city, right? You can drown in water. So you can drink it, but you can't breathe it. It's, you know? Bruce Lee coming to mind. The water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Old type Bruce. He knows. Be water. That's what he's saying. We are water, but our spirit is like water. It's versatile. It flows. You can't lock it down. It will take the shape of whatever it needs to. Spirit is like that. In communication with other beings and anywhere you go in the world, when you're moving from the heart space, you can interact with all walks of life. You know? It's malleable. It's flexible. This is the spirit. This is water too. Beautiful thing, right? When we observe nature like this, silently, we look at the elements. And of course, space, ether, you can't forget that. That's an element also. And that is just the spirit is like space. It's like infinite, vast space. No boundaries, no limitations. And this is what we're finding out about ourselves when we interact, reconnect, and ground ourselves in the power of the natural world. It's free, it's here for us all the time. You don't have to go to the beach and swim in the sea. You don't need just a plant in your room. Animals, if you have a cat or a dog around you, that is a direct connection to the source, you know? Because it's clean, it's pure. Human beings also, we are nature. When you interact with somebody else, especially if they have looked in this way and deepened, you can sense that source in each other, that heart space in each other. Very beautiful. So I encourage you, and doing it myself, you know, ensuring that I spend enough time observing nature, walking in nature. Recently went to visit a friend a few months ago over in Denmark, my boy, Big M, you know who you be. And he took me to a beach that he used to go to in his area when he was young. It was a windy day, and the sea was choppy. We had a fire, and it was a forest right on the beachfront. So all the elements of that, earth, fire, water, wind. I had a swim in the sea, warmed up by the fire, all of the elements. And I tell you, the feeling you get when you combine them like that, and we stayed there for a while, it was just a deep, deep serenity and contentment. So beautiful. And these are the things I like to do. You know, I know what it does for the soul, and it reminds me what I am. You can sense yourself in a deeper way when you spend time doing these type of things. You know these things anyway, you know. So a reminder, I guess, is all this is, of the beauty of nature, the elements, and of our own heart space, our own source, demonstrated all around us all the time. Okay. All right then. Today's a great day to reconnect, you know, interact with nature. Get that done, man. You know, it's healing. It's beautiful. Highest vibrations and blessings to you all, always. Choose love and stay free. Peace.